Hey guys, so today we are talking about Xbox.
Yeah.
Which we never talk about.
I know.
Because we're PlayStation people.
We are. We talked about PlayStation last time.
Yeah, all we do is talk about PlayStation. But listen, we've had an Xbox in the past. We haven't gotten the last few, but with Microsoft buying ZeniMax Studios, of course, who owned Bethesda last week, the internet went crazy. We went crazy. We love all those Bethesda games, Elder Scrolls, Fallout.
Yeah, and with both PlayStation and Xbox coming out with new consoles in November, it seemed like we at least had to discuss a little bit about Xbox.
Yeah, but I think the main thing we want to talk about is what it would take for us to get an Xbox. Because I think that, we've had every PlayStation. I've had when I was a kid, I got the first PlayStation. I've had every single version of the PlayStation, already pre-ordered the PS5. But, with this new acquisition, I'm starting to think to myself, there is a world where I could own both. So what would it take to do that?
Yeah, and you're saying that without us knowing what that's going to mean. Are Bethesda games going to now become Xbox exclusives?
Yeah.
That is a tongue twister.
It is.
Gosh darn it.
Yeah, that was tough. That is the big question. So let's start there, okay? So I can see so many different ways of this going, right? First off, I'm pretty sure I spent more time playing Skyrim than I have certain jobs I've had. I put a month's worth of hours into that game.
Yeah.
So I'm all in for the next Elder Scrolls.
For sure.
Fallout 4 also, ton of time into that game. So we're big Bethesda people. And on top of that, of course, they also own id Entertainment, so which is Doom, of course. Doom Eternal just came out. And so right there alone is I had a bit of a crisis when they bought it, because if it does become exclusive, which we don't know, I was just all right, well now A, we either need to buy an Xbox, or B, I'm going to revel in all the free time I'm going to have, because I won't be spending all this time playing these Bethesda games.
On the other hand, we don't know what exactly is going to happen with Bethesda now that Microsoft owns it. We don't know if there's going to be a lot of turnover. We don't know if the games that they churn out are going to have the same quality, or what they're going to be like. I assume
I don't think they're going to change a lot, honestly.
I hope they're not, but you've seen it before with other studios where it's they get taken over and all of a sudden they lose what they were doing.
Yeah, I feel like Microsoft, I don't know, for some reason I'm not concerned about that.
Yeah,
I think
feels like they picked it up for a reason.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of bought it to because they knew what the property was. They knew it was self-sustainable. They knew, they spent they spend more money on Bethesda than Disney did on Star Wars.
Oh, wow.
They spent $7.5 billion, I think. They spent a lot of money, so I think that they're aware. I gotta be honest, it was the smartest thing I've ever seen Microsoft do, because they were all right, what are the IPs that people have this huge fan base that people need that aren't already owned by the other guy, and aren't you're never gonna buy Rockstar, you're never gonna buy GTA. So and it was a really bold move. I feel like I can see a few things going. So when it comes to the Xbox, the only thing for me that would even make me think maybe I'd want to get an Xbox, aside from the Bethesda stuff, is this Gamepass they came out with.
Right.
So they have this Gamepass thing, which is essentially like Netflix for video games. Essentially all internal Microsoft games, day one, if you have this Gamepass, you can just play them.
Right.
You can just play them. You don't have to pay any extra for them.
New games, old games.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Any new games, day of release, and they have 100 old games already. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So the baseline for that, the standard, is $9.99, and then if you do the ultimate one, which is even more games, and an Xbox Live account, it's $15 a month. And so,
but that's something completely different. The ultimate one.
Yeah. Well, the ultimate one it's like this whole thing, and I'm not gonna go into much because we don't really play PC games that much. But they also have a cloud-based service where you can play games on your Android and also play games on your PC. And if you get the ultimate version, then you have both.
Yeah.
So you have this way to have the Game Pass on the Xbox, but also if you have a PC or an Android, you can play a bunch of other games. They essentially want to they basically want to own your entire gaming ecosphere, which I appreciate. I mean, that's a big, bold move.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I don't see myself Henry Cavilling up and building a PC at home. I'm a console guy, you know?
Yeah, or attaching your Android to a controller.
Yeah.
Like, seeing the videos of that, it just feels so odd.
Yeah, and listen, if that's your thing, if that's your bag, like, if you're a PC person first and foremost, I think Xbox is definitely the way to go. I mean, like, you're going to get a lot of content for with that Ultimate Game Pass.
Oh, although, technically, you don't need that. Isn't there another one that's just for the Android and PC?
Yeah.
So this is where a whole nother thing with Xbox comes into play. What are Xbox's plans for the future? You know, are consoles even where they are focused? Because, you know, you technically don't need an Xbox now to play Microsoft games.
Yeah.
You know, like because they have this one that is just for Android.
You play just the PC.
Yeah.
Android,
and so it's a whole nother world, and it's sort of like, you know, is Xbox now going to be sort of this streaming service kind of thing?
Yeah.
How much do they care about their console anymore? Is it important?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you bring up a great point, because if you do have if you do have this like ultimate version, you can have Game Pass and you can have the cloud service, and you could just play all those games on your PC, and you wouldn't need an Xbox at all. So I think I think you're right, and I think that is where they're going. I think they realize that, like, they can't compete currently with PlayStation with all of the first party games they have, because it's huge. But two, also they lost so bad in the last generation that everyone is kind of like used to having a PlayStation.
Yeah.
They're used to the controller.
Right.
They're used to they're used to having their PlayStation ID and all their rewards. And so it's going to take a lot to get people to leave. I mean, even currently, they pre-sold more than the Xbox.
So
the whatever X and S
Series X and Series S.
Yeah.
Also, Xbox, name your things with like more distinguishable, understandable names.
Yeah. I think they were trying to do like an iPhone thing with that, and it was just confusing.
So, okay. Is it worthwhile to even get the actual like boxy system, or why don't I just get a PC?
Well, you can. I mean, I think that
there
are so many
get those
people.
Third-party games.
Yes, that's true. I don't think you can get like Grand Theft Auto or like Assassin's Creed or like Call of Duty, which is another big thing, because ultimately, most huge games, with the exception of a few, are third-party games.
Yeah.
Though now that Bethesda is being bought, you know, that's going to change things a little bit. But I will say that, like, there is a large group of people that play PC games.
Right.
But the majority of people play on consoles. That is just kind of like the way it's kind of always been. If anything else, because it's like ease of use.
Yeah.
You know, you plug it in the TV, you know what you're doing. You know, PCs, like, it seems like a lot of work.
Yeah.
And it can be a lot of work. We haven't even really gotten to what's going to get us to get an Xbox yet, but I'm still wrapped up in this whole Bethesda thing, and I just want to talk about real quick what you think they're going to do, because I think I know what they're going to do. I feel like what would be the smartest plan is to come out with like Elder Scrolls, right? Elder Scrolls 6, and be like, it's, you know, free day one on the Xbox, and you can download it and play through Game Pass. But you can get it in PlayStation either the day of for like, you know, $60, $70, $80, or you have to like, you know, wait 6 months to play it. Because I feel like ultimately, like, you could say it would be best for them just to have it exclusive and for PlayStation to never do it,
right?
Which very well could happen. But I feel like there's something in like the human brain where, like, if you have to spend $80 on a game, and then your buddy across the street is like LOLing you because he got it for free that day because he's got an Xbox.
Right.
Like, it's going to mess with your head.
So if you have Game Pass, does it include Xbox Live? Do you know this?
Yeah, there's
okay.
Is
that one of the tiers?
That's one of the tiers. There's 4 tiers altogether. Well, what do you think? Do you think we're never going to play an Elder Scrolls game until we get an Xbox?
I don't think that's a smart move. You
right.
know, I think Microsoft is smart enough to know that things should be, you know, on both consoles. They should be available, you know, on both consoles and PC, you know?
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think the way it's going to be is if you want to play it those first few months, maybe up to like 6 months, then you need your Xbox.
But now let's get into like, how are we going to own a PlayStation? So first off, the Game Pass is very intriguing.
It is.
I have to say, PlayStation doesn't have anything like that. You know, I would definitely say that in the last show we talked about like day of release and talked about that PlayStation Plus collection.
Yes.
That is definitely like something you're going to want to do, because that's essentially going to be like, I think 15 of like, they call it generation-defining PS4 games that you'll be able to download on your PS5 day one and play them, you know, like Days Gone, Persona 5, Batman Arkham City, The Last of Us, games like that. I think that's definitely, in a way, a response to this Game Pass. I mean, they knew it was coming, and it's smart, but man, that day of new game stuff is like killer.
It is. You know, the question though is, do I need the actual system? You know, like when it comes to console wars, it's like in the past we've been like, okay, well, do I just want, you know, a PlayStation? Do I just want an Xbox? Do I want both of them?
Yeah.
You know, and there was a time with like regular old Xbox and PlayStation 2 or whatever, you know, where you have them both.
Yeah.
In this case, it's like, I'm all about having the PlayStation 5. Do I care about having the Xbox, you know, or would I maybe consider the Cloud Pass?
Right.
You know, and for me, like, if I've already got the PlayStation so I can play all the third-party titles, maybe the Cloud Pass is what I would want to look into.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean...
Buy me a PC, Dave.
It might happen. I mean, especially if you'll still be able to get, like, any of these new Microsoft games, you know, by getting this sort of ultimate bundle. Yeah, I mean, I think that's really fair. And what's funny about that ideology that you just said is Xbox wins no matter what, right? Yeah. And that's also what's really funny too, is a lot of people forget that like they're not an equal playing field. Like PlayStation happens to have won the last console war, but when it comes to like market cap of Sony versus Microsoft, it's not even close. Like Microsoft has all the monies.
Yeah.
Like pretty much, I think I saw a chart that showed that the amount that Microsoft spent on ZeniMax Studios is pretty much what like the entire lifespan of the PS4 made for Sony. Yeah. You know what I mean? So they can keep on putting money into this till the end of time, right, to try to get you to fully get enveloped in their gaming ecosystem. And I feel like for me personally, the one thing that might get me to jump over is one of the things I really like about what Capcom does is like they take their Resident Evil games and they do like they do a new version of it. They do a remake of it. You know, they did it with Resident Evil 2, 3. You know, it's the new thing to do, and I think it's a really smart thing to do because a lot of games, frankly, are too old for people to play nowadays.
For sure. If
they did that for Fallout or the original Elder Scrolls games, and they were like Fallout 1, you know, Morrowind, if they made all like remake versions with today 4K graphics, and those were like exclusive to Microsoft, that would be the kind of thing that would get me to get an Xbox.
So you would definitely go for the Xbox and not go for the cloud?
Yeah, because for me, I'm just not gonna. I listen, I know that you can have a PC and you can have a controller and blah blah blah, but for me, like, I would much rather have a console. Yeah, that's me personally. Yeah. I'm just a console guy. For me, it's just easier.
So if they did those and were like, this is just purely Xbox exclusive, like, you know, some of our other stuff, in a couple months you can get it for the PlayStation, but this stuff, Xbox exclusive, you consider
I think so, yeah, because I feel like there are a lot of games that I always wanted to get into, and for whatever reason, I missed the boat on. But I think, like, if you were to really make, like, a sexy version of, like, Fallout 1 that looked like Fallout 4... I'd be like, I'm in, man. I gotta play this.
So would you shell out for the Xbox Series X, or would you go for the...
Well, I mean, Xbox is also really smart in that they're doing this, like, you can get a system and pay for it per month, like every month, like a phone or something, right? That's like really smart.
That's so smart.
That's because think of that. That's like almost like a Nintendo move, because they know like there's gonna be a lot of people that, like, especially right now, with that cannot afford a brand new system,
right?
But you know what? It's $25 a month to keep the kid from like freaking out is doable.
It's
very
smart,
doable.
Smart move.
I think they found a really effective way to go against PlayStation in a way that is technology forward.
Absolutely. I'm very curious though. I'm really interested to see if they just sort of try and be the Netflix for video games.
I think Sony's going to win the first few years of this, and I think Xbox is going to build up steam over the next few years, because I feel like, especially whenever the announcement of what happens with Elder Scrolls and Fallout happens, it's going to be a big deal. I also think the Game Pass is going to become more and more popular. Yeah. I think especially online. It's not even going to be like Xbox versus Sony. It's going to be Game Pass versus PlayStation. Yeah, all the new PlayStation games, not all of them, but a lot of the brand new ones are $70 each. They've gone up $10 per game. That's a lot of money, you know? And also, we've noticed that everything has become a subscription service or like quasi free to play. I mean, look at Activision has made so much money off Warzone, and Warzone is free to play. Yeah. I mean, you can buy Call of Duty and Warzone comes with it, but like you can also just like Fortnite, just download it and play it. So I think that I think Microsoft is making really smart moves, and I think that PlayStation, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to try to compete with it or just go, we're good. Yeah. You know, we already got the butts and seats. We already got the IP that people want. You know, I mean, I got to be honest, Miles Morales is the smartest thing they could have done.
So good.
So long story short, I don't know. I don't know if I get an Xbox or not, but I think
we're gonna have to wait for news of what's gonna happen with Bethesda.
Yeah.
What will happen with those games.
But I do have to say that, you know, if there is a world where they also manage to kind of like fold out this Game Pass even more to the fact that like maybe, you know, with the Game Pass you also get like Disney Plus for like a few bucks less than you would per year, or Netflix or any of these other. Because remember, they were trying that last generation. They wanted it to be your only living room system, and you like talk to the Xbox and it just like they had so many great ideas and they foibled so much.
It's sort of working outside of the infrastructure of Microsoft and bundling things that make sense to bundle with it. I mean that is kind of the way to take over in certain respects.
I think the closer they can get to kind of like owning all of your sort of media watch time, the better they're going to be. And I think that's where PlayStation might end up having problems overall, because they're still going their sales are still full from last generation, right? And they still have some great IP. Like at the end of the day, we were always going to get a PlayStation because we needs the Horizon Forbidden West. We needs the Miles Morales. You know, The Last of Us 2 was excellent, and I'm sure they're going to make a third game at some point. Yeah. Well, I don't know, guys. What do you think? Are you PlayStation people, and what would it take for you to get an Xbox? Or are you Xbox people and you're like, hey, just get an Xbox, dummies? Let us know. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.